When is the last time you talked to your mother or told her that you love her? Has it been a while? Well, let's surprise Mom with flowers. Mother's Day is coming up on Sunday, May 10th, and JustFlowers.com can help you find the perfect gift for your mom. That's JUSTFlowers.com. Or you can call us at 1-844-296-2148 and use coupon code BlogTalkRadio to save $5 on your order. Again, that's 1-844-296-2148 or JustFlowers.com and use coupon code BlogTalkRadio to save $5 on your order.
Savvy Central Radio, drawing out the best from our guests, with host Christina Nitschmann.
Savvy Central Radio is proud to present a live interactive series featuring a new mix to business networking and interviews. Our second event will take place on May 23rd at Tornassau Wellness in Manhattan with our guest, Rochelle Khanna, licensed clinical social worker. She'll share with us her new book, 30 Days of Prayer, Healing Autoimmunity for Women. This event is for health professionals, fitness experts, alternative care professionals, and anyone looking to create optimum wellness in their life. To find out more, book your free ticket today at bit.ly.com/savvyevent, the number 2. That is bit.ly.com/savvyevent, the number 2. Our guest today is Lisa Crilley Mallis. She combines her experience in secondary education, direct sales, and her love of scheduling, systems, and time management to create SystemSavvy Consulting LLC. For over 10 years, Lisa has assisted overtaxed, busy, motivated entrepreneurs, business owners, and adults in implementing concrete techniques that can be applied immediately to their daily lives. Today, Lisa shares her top tips on how to best manage your time. To find out more about Lisa, visit her website at SystemSavvyConsulting.com. And to take advantage of her special offer, go to ScheduleWithLisa.com. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to Savvy Central Radio. How are you?
I am doing great and so excited to be here today.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you on because we're going to talk about something that I find to be really, really important for coaching businesses and all businesses, actually, and that's time management, which you are the master at. And we talked a lot about how difficult it is, especially in this day and time with things going 300 miles an hour. You have kids, you have family. How do you manage your time? So before we get started with all of that, share with the audience a little bit about your journey and how you came to creating your business, SystemSavvy Consulting, which I love because you have savvy in there.
I felt we had a kinship already when I saw your business too. It's been a journey. I will be honest with you. I started in high school education and have, over the course of about 20 years, found myself where I am now as a time strategy visionary. And when I started out in high school education, I was a high school math teacher, and then I was an athletic director for a Division I high school. And I loved what I was doing, especially in administration. I was jazzed and energized every day. However, what I found was that with my natural personality, I tended to keep expanding my work day into such a place where I was working a good 60, 70 plus hours a week. Mm-hmm. And it was not the best plan for me from a health perspective. Mm-hmm. And that's how I'm saying it as nicely as I can. So basically what it is I worked myself into the ground, and go figure. Mm-hmm. And I was in a place where I didn't realize, like other people had said, when you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. And I had always just thought that they were just not very good with their schedules, because I figured you could just move things around. Mm. And if you had two things happening at 7, just get one so that it happened at 6 and you could get to both. Or just kind of renegotiate what you had to do so that you could get to everything. And that's great. The problem was that everything for me was work. And there was very little on my self-care or my family. And so I was a master at getting my to-do list done and scheduling out my day, my week, my month, my year on a work end, but not on a personal end. And so once I hit the wall, as far as my health was concerned, I knew that I needed to reevaluate and figure something out, because again, left to my own tendencies, going back into the same situation, I will revert back to working from the minute I get up until the minute I go to bed. And knowing that that's not good for me, but still not being able to exactly stop it. And so at that point, I knew I needed to do something different. And through a variety of experiences that were happening along the same times, I moved into the idea of going into coaching because it brings in my educational background, but it also was able to do it in a different way to where I could own my own business, set my own schedule, and create the structures I needed to create so that I did not work from from the minute I got up to the minute I went to bed. And along that route, it hit me. What are my strengths? Time management. They absolutely are. Minus that tiny piece that I was missing of, figure out what you want from your life. Like totally left that out. But on the other end, the tactical end, I'm a rock star there. So it's a matter of let's take the big picture, put it in with the tactical pieces, and then let's share that with people who are in the exact same place I was 15 years ago so that they don't have to learn the hard way. Yeah. And so that's where SystemSavvy Consulting was born, and why I went back to school to become a certified coach was so that I could take my life experience and my skill set and help people not do what I did.
Yeah. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. And I think when we spoke in our first conversation together, I ended up telling you that back in corporate, I was working 12, 14-hour days. And it was very interesting that when I started business, I did the same thing. I just translated what I did in corporate, making it all about work, bringing it straight into my business, and even then some, because I worked the weekends as well. And it wasn't moving anywhere in the beginning. I was just like stuck. Why is that? Because I think a lot of coaches and small business owners start out doing so much work, but with little results. Why is that?
I think a piece of it, I can speak for sure from my experience, is it's your comfort level in your habits. Like just because you left one location in your situation and went somewhere else, your core didn't necessarily change. And so you have to start to build in some sort of structure and some sort of system to help create the life that is that you want to create versus falling back into old habits and doing old things. And so I just actually, right before we started talking today, just got off with a client, and we talked about how one of the things she needs to institute into her schedule and time is the idea of a hard stop. She needs something from the outside helping her stop her day, or her 4:00 stop time will morph into 11 o'clock at night. All of a sudden, so if she can bring that piece in. And so I think for entrepreneurs, because we're juggling so many hats, we just keep thinking, I'm not done. And I need to just keep going, but we're never done. And it's a matter of figuring out how can you create the system or structure you need so that you stop. I think it's just a matter of putting in your whatever you need to make sure that you stop when you need to stop, so that you have a life that's not just business. Yeah. Or the flip side of that, not just personal, or whatever it may be that you're feeling a little out of balance with.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm getting from you that, and you mentioned this earlier on when you first started your conversation, is that you had to get clear about what you really wanted in your life. And I think that's a really big call, that you can't go anywhere until you have a clear picture in your mind of where you want your life and your business as a whole to go, what you actually want out of it. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. When I was deciding what to call myself, because it's my business, I can call myself whatever I want. There was a lot of thought that went into the fact that it's time, strategy, visionary, because I believe you need to start with the vision. You can get somewhere really fast, but if you have no idea where it is you're going, it doesn't do any good. Like sometimes clients will say, I want to, if I could just save an hour a day, I'm like, well, what would you do with it? Well, I don't know. Well, then why would we try to save it? Know where you want to be so that you can start to build out towards that. It's that idea of not seeing the forest for the trees. You're so tied up in your day-to-day to-do list that you've lost sight that most of the tasks on your to-do list have nothing to do with your big goal. But you're moving through and you're moving fast, and oh my gosh, isn't that great? You got 20 things done today, but those big important things didn't get touched.
Yeah, and what I got from you right there, Lisa, which is really, really important. I watched a lecture recently on sales, and this guy was saying that people don't sign up for goals. Like you say, oh, my goal is this year I want to do this in my business. People get excited and want to follow a vision. So when you come out of the stalls with this huge vision that has purpose behind it and it's going out into the world making it better and helping people, people want to sign up for that. They want to follow you. They want to be part of that vision. You just say, hey, my goal is to make $100,000 this year. Who cares? No one cares about that. It's not their business. It's not their passion. But when you come out of the stalls with a huge vision, people can sign up behind that.
Absolutely. I love that. I love how that it creates such a great visual for me. Time, strategy, visionary.
Love it. That is perfect. And I know when I heard that because there's something deep behind that. It's not just,
Right.
hey, I help people with their time management. And then you mentioned that what can get out of balance is we become so kind of unfocused about, oh my gosh, we need to get 20 things done, because that's what I see other coaches and other business owners doing is they do a newsletter, they're doing 10 blogs a week. So I got to copy them, and I've also got to do a teleseminar a month, and that's going to grow my business. But what they're not understanding is maybe that's not where your vision or your business goes. Maybe that's not best for your
Right.
business. And then what you end up leaving out is the rest of your life, your spirituality, your family, your health. So what would you say to coaches out there who are kind of all over the place and they don't even know where to start?
What I do when I counsel and advise people is that we talk about AWE, awareness, work, and evaluation. And so for me, everything starts back at that awareness stage. And it's what's the purpose behind the task. So like coming back to your idea of, 10 blog posts and, a newsletter and this and this and this and this. Well, what is that feeding? What's your big piece? And so I like to say, let's start there first. And so, let's say you're in a coaching business. Is what do you want to be your main income stream? Is it one-on-one coaching? Is it group coaching? Is it product sales? Is it teleseminars? Is it webinars? Is it speaking and selling from the stage? Like, what is it that you want as your major income stream? And then what are the activities that need to chunk back to support that? So if you're writing blog posts, is your call to action then consistent with what you say you want your number one income stream to be? And it's those pieces, it's making sure there's a correlation between what it is that's most important. And so you can get bogged down in, like you said, 10 blog posts. Well, what's the purpose? Maybe your purpose is the fact that you're using your blog as an income generator. Well, then great. And is everything that you're doing there, are you getting the advertising you want and all of those pieces? And so so how do you get there? How do you figure out what's most important to you? You need quiet time, in my opinion, in my experience. You have to force your brain to be, and for those of you listening right now who have brains like mine, I'm speaking from experience here. You have to force your brain to be quiet long enough to think and just be. The best thing you can do in your calendar is create. I feel like I'm on my soapbox right here, sorry. But the best thing you can do is create buffer, quiet, open, unscheduled time so that you can look at what in the world are you doing? And is it what you want?
Yeah. Yeah, and what I got earlier from you, and then it comes back to that, I'm hearing it again, is you got to get clear on what your core values are and what's most important to you and what are your gifts and talents to the world. Because we mentioned, people will be following what other coaches and businesses are doing out there, thinking that's what's going to bring me the big bucks. But is that even your gift? Is that even your thing you have that's just your thing, your unique thing that you have to give to the world? Because I think that can also stop you if you're just trying to copy what you see, what you think will be of monetary value and bring you money, when if you're really focusing on what is my God-given talent in the world and how can I bring that out in what form, then the money will follow because you're following your heart and you're following your God-given talents.
Right. It's like, what's that piece for you that if you could do it the rest of your life and not get paid, you'd still be happy?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? What is that down at your core? And then when you can get there, and, maybe, I'm going to be honest. It's not like I woke up, when I was 21 and said, oh, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Totally not. It's been not until the last 2 years before I finally started to hone in on what is that for me. And so asking for help and asking for guidance from people who are outside of you that can help you see different things is a great plan. If you're sitting in that spot thinking, wow, Christina and Lisa, this sounds great, but I have no idea what I'm brilliant at. Ask people. they can't wait to tell you. So go and ask.
Well, that's a really good point, Lisa. And very early on, I've mentioned this on the show, the first things I was told by my closest friends and family when I talked to them about this several years back was, well, you're a great talker. We love talking to you. But what did that look like as far as a business? Nothing came to mind for a long while. So my advice for anyone out there is like, okay, I don't know. Journaling helped me, but another thing I think is very important is to get out. Just get out there, get out of your house, get out from behind your computer and just do things. Try different things. Go out there and get uncomfortable. Try something you've never tried, and who knows, maybe that will be that thing that pulls out your unique gifts and talents.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we talked prior to the show, another big problem I see with a lot of entrepreneurs in particular, and that's really, really, really that there's not a lot of follow up and follow through with businesses. And I've noticed that with businesses I contact and they say they want to come on for an interview perhaps. And I said, okay, let's get on the schedule. I send them our calendar and then I don't hear from them. And so why is it such a big problem with a lot of small businesses?
I think it rolls back again to that idea of, especially in a small business, you're doing everything yourself. And so without a system and without a plan, things will fall through the cracks. And so it's the idea of how can you overcome that? Will create some sort of a system, whether it's you access your email a certain way and you flag things that still need followed up on, or you toggle it into, an online scheduling system, or it gets slid over to a to-do list, or whatever those pieces may be. You need a plan and a system for that. Otherwise, it falls through the cracks when you start to get overwhelmed. Everybody is great when things are slow. We are on top of the ball. Things are slow. One email comes in an hour. We're right on top of it. Well, when you're looking at, 250 emails in your inbox by noon, that's not as easy to stay on top of. And so being able to create something, whether it is hiring a VA to help you manage that, or it's setting aside a certain block of time every day where you get back to zero, to where you've handled and moved everything to the right place that it needs to move to in order for you to act on it. Whatever it looks like for you individually, I think that's the big reason people don't follow up. It's not because they're not interested. It's because it came in, they thought, I'll get back to that later, and then it gets buried 20 emails below. And they're losing out on so many great possibilities and opportunities.
Yeah. And for me, early on, I realized that, for me back in corporate, I found that I was the calendar queen on Outlook, that I would color code everything, put it straight into my calendar. I wanted to reach out to clients and stuff like that. So that became kind of comfortable for me. But like you said, every system, everyone's different. Other systems will work better for them. For me, I like the color coding and putting it straight into my calendar that I see on the left-hand corner of my screen when I wake up. So, okay, here's my calendar for today. Here's what I have to do. And for other people, maybe it's actually writing it down is much more easier for them to get into their calendar and figure out what needs to be done for the day.
Right. But whatever it is, there has to be one.
Yeah.
Or if you want to not ignore Christina's email to schedule a time to be on the show, you need to have some sort of a system to follow up. The same with clients. A great example is you say, I'm someone, not you necessarily, but in general, a business owner will say, customer service is my top priority. Well, then let's schedule in some time to follow up with customers. Because otherwise, if you're only being reactive, you're only getting them when they're not happy. So let's go proactive on that and create some sort of a checklist or process so that if customer service is your priority, you're actually following up with your customers.
Yeah, I love that you bring up this point. I had Marilyn Tuttle of Who's Your Gladys on a number of months ago, and she wrote a book all on customer service, and it's something that doesn't get really spoken about a lot or really focused on, and that is that it's the core of your business, your customers. And often small businesses and large businesses and medium businesses, we focus on the new business, getting the new clients. I mean, I worked for several years in corporate, and it was always sales, 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 new customers, new customers, new customers. How about the loyal customers who've been with you for years? But you can't stop paying attention to them. You don't want to just pay attention to them when they're angry about some product or service or information that you sent to them. You want to take care of them and know or have them feel that they're being taken care of continually.
Right, absolutely. I mean, nothing is more frustrating, and I'm totally going to go off on a tangent here for a moment, but nothing is more frustrating than when I see this great introductory offer for new customers. And like, what about me? I've been here 10 years.
Yeah.
Where's my introductory offer? Gosh darn it.
Yeah, I've said that to Time Warner. It's like, hello, how come I only get the special deal when I sign up in the beginning? Why don't we get rewarded for staying with you for years?
I know. I see. It isn't it funny because I'm also thinking of a different cable company as I'm having this conversation with you. But it's like, hello, what about me? Yeah. But again, it's that idea of what are you going to do from a system standpoint? And I know that sounds so boring and it's not sexy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to put in a process or I'm going to create a system. But if you value follow up, go ahead and do the unsexy system process to make sure that what's important to you actually gets done. Otherwise, you're constantly being reactive on what's coming in that's urgent throughout the day.
Yeah. Great tip. And I'm thinking also, and this woman who came on my show, Marilyn Tuttle, after she told me that, I actually went and contacted all my old clients and just followed up with them because I recalled then when I heard her talk about this, that there was a guy in corporate that worked for another company that was a vendor for us and used to call us every 2 months like clockwork and just say, "Hi, it's Joe. How you doing?" And then, ask, is there anything we can do to help you? And I used to get annoyed because I used to think, darn, I don't have any business to send his way. And he wasn't trying to force business out of us. He was just trying to keep front of mind and let us know he's there for us. And here's the thing, even though I felt bad I didn't always have business to give him, when we did have business, he's the first guy that came to mind because he was always there.
Right.
So it makes a big, big difference. So for businesses out there, like we mentioned earlier, they're so stressed. They have so many things going on, family, kids, running all the hats of running the business. What are your top tips for keeping business owners focused in their business or increasing focus?
My very favorite tip when it comes to focus, and it really what I'm taking from your question is the idea of internal distractions, the stuff that's going on in your head. Mm-hmm. And so my favorite tip is to create a parking lot. So when you're working on the task that you decided is the most important task to you be working on at that time, and you're bombarded with things in your head like pick up milk, or here's a great idea for a blog post. So instead of opening up another browser on your computer or stopping what you're doing to go take the laundry from the washer to the dryer, or whatever it is that's hitting you in the head, jot it down on a piece of paper. And so we call it a parking lot because you're parking it there. And then when you finish the task that you sat down to do, go back to your parking lot and decide, now what? Is there something on there that needs immediate attention? Or can I move it over to a reminder list? Or can I put it on a to-do list? Or what? But once you get it out of your head, your brain can go back easier to the creativity part than trying to keep remembering, all that stuff. Because when you get a great idea for a blog post, you don't want to lose it. But if you start writing it, that's completely negated what it is you decided was the most important thing to do to begin with.
That's a really, really good point. And I'm thinking what you mentioned there about if you, don't let yourself get distracted, something pops in your head, write it down. That was a really good tip. Early on when I first started Savvy, I was new to this interviewing people, and I would get so excited about what they were talking about, and things would pop up in my head about what we could talk about next, or I wanted them to expand on something. So I used to step all over them and interrupt them just so I could get in the next question. And my partner called me up and said, "Stop doing that. Cut it out. Write it down so that when they're done, you could ask them that question, write down that one word, and that became a lifesaver. And now it's not as necessary for me to write everything down because I've gotten better at listening, but it's a great thing for anyone. Either you're on the call with a client, or you are doing an interview, or you're in your business and you're getting your mind focused all over the place. It's a great tip.
Right. It's one of my favorite. I find that my mind will go 100 different directions at once. And so my parking lot list can get very lengthy if I'm doing any type of solitary thinking type of work, especially if I'm writing. If I'm working with numbers or something, like, not as much. But if I'm trying to put a blog post out there, things are coming in my head from every direction. And I just have to keep jotting them down.
That's a great idea. And from all of your building of your business and all the clients you've worked with, what has been the most valuable lesson that you've learned?
Work on what only you can do, which is probably less than what you think it is, and send the rest out to somewhere. I heard someone recently say, do what only you can do, and frankly, there's nothing that only you can do. I was like, oh, that's an interesting spin on it. But for me, it's what is it that only I can do right now in my business that, according to my business model, and that is coach clients and enroll new clients. That is what only I can do. And so anything else that I'm doing, realistically, a virtual assistant or an intern or whatever, someone else can do those things. Now, do I still write my own blog posts? Most of them, yes, because I feel that's my voice, and that's one way that I work on attracting new clients and giving value to my current and past clients. However, a lot of the other stuff, someone else can do that. And so the biggest thing that I can say as I've been growing my business, and that's not where I started, I'm not going to lie. Not like when I first started my business, I said, okay, I'm going to hire all the support staff. Not at all. But as I was able to grow, because and someone else recently had said it in this way: if what you make is $14, then you can hire someone to do it for $12, and you're making $2, and that's worth it. And I never quite thought of it that way, but they're saying if it costs you $6 to hire someone, as long as you're making $7, you're on the up end of that. And so don't think necessarily, I can't afford to hire an assistant. Maybe you can for maybe an hour a week.
Yeah, and that's a good place to start and that's a really hard thing. I've talked to a number of entrepreneurs in particular, is a lot of them are type A, and it's like, if I want it done right, I got to do it myself type of attitude. I'm included in that. And so it's really, really hard for me to let other people kind of release it and say, okay, I'm going to let you do it. And, I've started to do that more and more, and I'm pleasantly surprised, like, oh, wow, look, other people can do it. And it's just that I think release of control and realizing that, hey, you can monitor it, just hire the right people and letting someone else do it and realizing it will get done. It will get done well.
Right. Like, do you own your business or do you work in your business?
Yeah.
Are you the CEO or are you in the assembly line? I have a client who makes cookies and she touches each thing before it ships 17 times. And I said, you mean someone touches? And she's like, no, I touch. And I'm like, really? Let's talk about that. And again, I'm not here to pass judgment on her business model, but if she wants to become more efficient, then there's a possibility that's a great place for someone else to come in and do at least a couple of those touches.
Absolutely. And I don't want us to leave here without you telling the audience more about how they can work with you, get in touch with you, and find out more about your awesome business.
Absolutely. So I want to share, I'm so excited to share my big vision for the next 90 days is I am offering 90 strategy sessions over the course of 90 days. And these are complimentary. It's so that if you're listening right now and you're like, I have this challenge and I would love for someone to help me work through a piece of it, especially as entrepreneurs, we get in that mindset of it's us against the world. There's no one to bounce ideas off of. Take me up on this offer. Bring your challenge. I prefer it be time management since that's my expertise, but hey, bring whatever you got. We'll figure it out. But I will then offer about 30 minutes of some solutions. We can walk through things so that you can be as productive and profitable as you possibly can in the time that you want to spend in your business. And so there's no obligation, all those pieces. So it's just my way of I love what I do, and I'm making it a point of sharing, like we've talked about, sharing my brilliance. And so the way that you can do that is you go to schedule. It's a very tricky URL. Schedulewithlisa.com. And so take advantage of the offer.
All right, schedulewithlisa.com, everyone. Go out there and get your session today so you get your business to the next level. Thank you, Lisa. I want to thank you again for coming to Savvy Central Radio and sharing your gifts and wisdom.
Thank you.
Savvy Central Radio is proud to present a live interactive series featuring a new mix to business networking and interviews. Our second event will take place on May 23rd at Tornassol Wellness in Manhattan with our guest, Rochelle Khanna, licensed clinical social worker. She'll share with us her new book, 30 Days of Prayer, Healing Autoimmunity for Women. This event is for health professionals, fitness experts, alternative care professionals, and anyone looking to create optimum wellness in their life. To find out more, book your free ticket today at bit.ly.com/savvyevent, 2. That is bit.ly.com/savvyevent, 2.